So good morning, Senator. The resolution passed the House. It's now in you guys' hands. What do you think happens before the deadline on Friday?
Well, good morning. I really don't know what the Democrats are going to do, but let me just describe what we're talking about here. We're halfway through this fiscal year. Chuck Schumer never put one appropriation bill on the floor when he was majority leader. We're voting on the discretionary part of the budget, which is about 26%, $1.9 trillion. So this continuing resolution would be roughly, $950 billion large. It's for a continuing resolution. It's reasonably clean. Increases defense slightly, decreases some other domestic spending slightly. I mean, we're talking, $10 billion on either side when you're talking about a funding measure that's $950 billion large. So again, I don't like government shutdowns. They're very costly. They're very inefficient. I don't like the bill. I don't think any Republican likes a continuing resolution. We'd rather have gone through an appropriation process. But again, from my standpoint, this is a no-brainer. Just pass it. I think 2025 is a lost cause. We'll spend about $7.3 trillion this year, and that's up from $4.4 trillion in 2019. And I've laid out, I think I've been on the show before. I've laid out a number of pre-pandemic spending baselines ranging somewhere between 5.5 and 6.5. That, by the way, that's the most we ought to be spending this year. $6.5 trillion. That takes 2019 spending, increases it by population and inflation, uses today's Social Security and Medicare, leave those completely untouched. You can leave Medicaid completely untouched and still spend about 6.5. We're going to be spending 7.3. So again, let's get this funding done, and then let's focus on the reconciliation process. Let's focus on what DOJ is doing from a standpoint of exposing the waste, fraud, and abuse, codify that so we can actually start saving money and reducing spending, return to a pre-pandemic spending level.
Yeah, great point. And we know that some Senate Democrats still pushing to tank this bill Friday and shut down the government. Here's what Senator Elizabeth Warren had to say on the floor yesterday.
The Republican shutdown playbook is dangerous, and it will hurt working families. Democrats are right to oppose the House bill, and people all across this country are right to expect us to stand up and fight back.
All right, so Democrats seem to think that a shutdown would be Republicans' fault, but they're the ones voting no. So what do you make of Senator Warren's comments there?
It's all rhetoric. It's all demagoguery. Again, the fact is we'll be spending about $1.9 trillion in discretionary spending this year. This is going to fund about $900 to $950 billion. It's pretty clean. It's basically what we spent under Joe Biden. And that's what a continuing resolution is. It spends at the same levels for all these departments that Joe Biden and the Democrats voted for last time. So now they won't vote for it for 2025. Again, pure rhetoric, pure demagoguery. It's massive amount of spending. It's only 26% of our budget is all we really vote on. 74% is on automatic pilot. We need to focus on the other mandatory, not Social Security, not Medicare, not even Medicaid. If we do that, there's at least $500 billion that we're spending at higher levels than we did 2019, inflated for population inflation. Again, government spending is completely out of control. A $7.3 trillion total expenditure for this year is insane. It's not justified. We need to return to a pre-pandemic level. But Elizabeth Warren, Democrats it's sheer demagoguery, sheer rhetoric. This is basically what they spent, what they voted on for 2024 spending. Just move forward a year. Again, they're playing politics. Unfortunately, legacy media will back them up.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at my social media comments in my feed, Senator, a lot of people say, well, no, Republicans control Washington. They have all three chambers, the House, the Senate, the White House. It's your job. But this isn't reconciliation. This needs 60 votes. So you have to have Democrats vote for it. We already know Senator Rand Paul says he opposes it, which means you're going to have to find at least 8 or 9 Democrats in there to reach that magic number. Do we think there's enough common sense, folks, to continue the spending they started, to be like, I don't want to be cause of this, let's just get this off our plate?
We'll find out. And again, if they don't vote for this, I don't like this. Most Republicans don't want to vote for this, but we're going to because we don't want shutdowns. This is better than the alternative. If Democrats decide to vote against this, they're the ones shutting down the governments, and they're the ones that should be, paying the political price for doing so.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.